What is up, party people? Welcome to this special episode of the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. You guys always know I start the show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. Tonight is a special episode with one of the newest sponsors of the HVAC Uncensored Podcast, my friends over at FieldPulse. Guys, rated as the #1 HVAC field service FSM and #1 for both ease of use and customer service. FieldPulse is the solution you need to accelerate your business. Still operating off pen and paper? FieldPulse keeps track of your customers, estimates and invoices, work orders digitally, helps you gain visibility in every aspect of your business. The FieldPulse scheduling features help you keep track of your techs, their jobs, and their current location while out in the field. FieldPulse also has maintenance agreements and the good, better, best proposal tool included in the platform. If you do commercial work, there is a project management feature to help you with the long-term work. On average, businesses grow 60% within their first year after signing up with FieldPulse. Guys, start your 7-day free trial and take your business to the next level with FieldPulse today. I have a link that I will share in the comments. You guys can click so they know that you came from me. Let's get on with this Pledge of Allegiance and get this show rocking. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. I'm your host, Gil KV Jr., here on a special episode on a Tuesday night. Guys, I got a great week for you. Got a great show tonight, an episode tomorrow, and an episode Thursday. So a jam-packed week. Guys, I'm going real fast before I forget. In the comments, I am going to copy, if any of you are interested in using FieldPulse, that is the link that you guys can click on to go check that out. And you will learn about them tonight. Real fast before we move on, hello to everybody in the chat. Mr. Randy Laz, Everything HVACR, HVAC blogger, Jason Johnson. Who else we got in here? I think that's everybody for now. Oh, and Mr. Reliable. If I missed somebody, I'm sorry. But hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Let's get on with this show and introduce my guests. Guys, I was just on their podcast a little while ago, and it was a good time. And now I get to have him over here. So if you guys would help me welcome, he is an industry advisor. He's a working man. Like he says, he's a working man who works for a tech company, helping people, help serve people in their business to let them use this platform to better themselves. So, guys, help me welcome Mr. Daniel Myers. What's up, my man?
Oh, not much, man. How about you?
Same old, buddy.
Yeah, I hear you.
Thank you for being on tonight. I appreciate it. Because it's a little, you guys are what, a couple hours behind me in Texas?
Yeah, it's 7:00 here.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's only an hour. That's not that bad. I keep forgetting some places aren't that bad because I'm East Coast. So,
Yeah, that's only 1 hour, and then it's 2, and then 1 hour in Mountain Time, and then 2 hours West Coast time. All of this stuff I'm now having to learn because the way that you introduced me being in construction my whole life, I never had to worry about time zones. And now that I work for a tech company and we have clients, we have contractors, clients, whatever you want to call them, in almost every state and definitely every time zone. I'm having to learn that little feature in Google calendars about adjusting for time zones. And I actually just got off the phone with somebody today who's in London,
oh, man.
who is he's another software integration partner that we're talking to, and so that is way off, and it's so outside of my natural, you know, um, my natural perception of time, right? Which is I get up at 5:30 and I work and I go to bed when the sun goes down, and so it's forever expanding my mind.
That's fine. I had that. So I wanted to make sure in the scheduling software that I use for the podcast that I didn't know that it automatically takes into account, like it'll know where you are and be like, oh, calculate this in your time.
Uh huh.
And I didn't know that and was like panicking one time. I'm like, shit, I gotta be ready an hour early. Like these people aren't
Uh
gonna
huh. Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So it's amazing when technology can work in your favor. So
Yes.
um,
Yes. Yes.
but I guess let's do this, Daniel, real fast before we even get into field piece. Like we talked about when we were talking about on your show, just so you guys also know, Daniel is also the host of the Field Piece podcast. They have their own podcast. Very, very good. You guys should go check that out. Anywhere you find podcasts, that should be there. A little bit about your background, because you were a tradesman. You were in the trades.
Absolutely. So I do not come from a construction family at all. I come from just a small business family. I can say that I was born into a small business. My parents started a computer parts retail business literally when they found out that they were having me. My mom tells a story all the time of having me in a carrier in the wintertime, wait at their new office, waiting on the electricity to get turned on. And they broke ground, opened the business in late December. I was born in mid January, so I spent my entire childhood being raised in a small business where after school my brother and I would go to the office because the business didn't close till 5:30. And so fast forward a little bit, I'm 14 and I start mowing my grass I start mowing my neighbor's grass. I start mowing about 4 or 5 homes on my street. I start mowing their grass, and then I start trimming their trees, which then leads into fixing gates, which then leads into fixing fences, and then fast forward another 20 years, and I'm doing second floor whole home remodels, $100,000 kitchen remodels, big stuff. And uh, to not get too personal, but to let you in, the anxiety, the pressure of running that scale of a business was too much for me, and it got it
Yeah.
it it really became too much for me. I lost my first marriage because of it,
Mm.
and my life kind of fell apart. Well, I picked up the pieces, I got myself back together, and I took the construction knowledge, the lifetime of knowledge that I had accrued, literally doing everything. Because I've framed houses, I've poured concrete, I've put on roofs, I have set windows and doors, I have trimmed out. I built an entire library in this lady's bedroom, spare bedroom. I fixed sheetrock. I can do tile. I can finish hardwood floors. I've literally done it all, and with my own hands. And so I took all of that knowledge and experience that I had, and my girlfriend at the time, now wife, we're sitting at the dinner table, and I'm trying to figure out what to do and trying to, figure out what's next. And she, being in the real estate industry, said, "Well, everyone around here is always looking for a good handyman." And the stigma of a handyman, right, is that was the handyman thing, the
Jack of all, master.
master of jack of all trades, master of none, right? Which is, I kind of leaned into it and thought, yeah, that's exactly what I am. And so I
It's not necessarily true
it's
though. Not to stop you. I'm not saying some aren't like that, and as a bad thing. But there's a few guys I know around here that they know their shit, and the reason they do handyman service is because they don't like doing the same thing every day.
that's
They
me. That's
yeah,
me exactly.
these guys could be. I would hire them as HVAC techs tomorrow. If they said, "Hey, I want to come work for you," I'd hire them and they get paid well. They could go be plumbers. They could go be roofers. They're very knowledgeable guys. They're like, I like doing handyman stuff because I get to do a little bit of everything. Like, I don't want to do the same thing every day. So,
That's me, and that's that to kind of back engineer that. That is exactly why I have all the experience that I have, is because um, I have the mind of figuring out the most efficient way to do things, and I will do a task if it's framing or if it's concrete or whatever, and I will work at that trade until I figure out the most efficient way to do it, and then I get bored, and then I get tired of doing the same thing over and over again, and then I want to go learn something else and do something else. And I've always had a knack for just the people that I know and the situations that I'm in. It's almost fortuitous, I guess you could say, where I just come across people that, hey, I've always carried myself in a way that I'm always kind of curious and I'm always kind of learning. And I got caught, I don't know how many dozens of times, just watching people across the job site and just seeing how they do it and paying attention to what they're doing, and and really studying how they're doing it, um, and then just falling into it, just kind of falling forward, always. And so
yeah.
like I said, I took all that experience, and exactly, I got real tired of doing the same thing over and over and over again. And so I took that and turned it into a handyman business, and a very, very successful handyman business. And I got to tell you, the single hardest decision I've ever had to make in my entire life was shutting that business down, because within 3 years, I went from literally zero in September of 17. Yeah, September. I might be getting it wrong, but September of 17, I started at literally zero. I had a few tools. I had, the stuff I needed to do simple stuff. I made 30 grand by the end of that year. And then by the time I shut my business down, the last year I paid taxes,
Mhm.
top line revenue on that business was $282,000.
Nice.
And I that was all me. That was all by myself. I did have an assistant, Tiffany, who helped me answer the phones. Um, but I scaled it up and it worked very well. And I was operating at a level that not a whole lot of other people really operate businesses at by themselves, right? As a single operator. And and that's kind of what led me here, where my son was born, and I had some time off. I took 3 weeks off when he was born because I wanted to be at home with my wife and son, and I was using FieldPulse, and I had always chimed in with little improvements, and I always had suggestions, and I could always see what they were building, what we now were building and trying to do, and it was there, and it wasn't always the smoothest, like, click funnel, the way to
Y-
to click through menus and what makes sense. So I was always chiming in with little product updates and having chats with our customer success team, and they just reached out to me and said, "Hey, what do you think about coming in and sitting down with us and having lunch, and let's go through this, and let's really pick your brain on you want to what you want to achieve, because all the stuff that you're giving us is really helpful." And so I did. I came and had, I don't know, like a 3 hour lunch with a lot of people here at Field Pulse. And I'm walking out of the door to, bye everybody. Thanks for having me. And they kind of stopped me at the door and said, "Hey, what do you think about just coming and doing some content and some coaching type stuff?" And excuse me. And that's today. That's where I'm at. That's where I am now. We picked it up, and like I said, it took me 3 weeks to shut my business down because my books were still full of clients. And I thought in the back of my mind, I'm not going to let any of my clients down in case this corporate thing doesn't work out. I can just turn my phone number back on and spool my handyman business back up and be back in business in 3 weeks. So I left all of my clients in a good place. I let them down easy. I called everyone in my customer book and said, "Hey, I'm shutting my business down. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much, for everything, all the business. I really super appreciate everything." And every single person, I actually had one lady cry, and
It's a good thing.
and
It's a
then
good thing.
it did feel good. It did hit me right here. Oh man.
Well, and one thing I will say, I appreciate you being honest when you said about your marriage and the hard, just because sometimes people need to realize those realistic facts. It's not all peaches and cream when you become a business owner.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I hear some people. I see some people in the chat. I advise anybody to own your own business of some sort at some point in your life. And I'm not saying you got to have some crazy business, because, guys, I say this all the time, but I will preach it. The tax laws were created for entrepreneurs, they were not created for 9 to 5 employees. So even if you have something, a lawn care business, that you don't even got to do it that much, create an LLC, create a sole proprietorship, something, and guys, it will open up a whole new world for you. You get access to business credit. That's not 510, it's 100 grand. Take that, invest it in real estate, invest it in something. Like, I'd be more than happy to do a podcast on this, but guys, it has changed my life dramatically. I've had some people advise me in my life that have literally changed things. So don't don't let business ownership be one thing when you think of it. It can be numerous things. Okay. So I just want to say that real fast before I go on some long drawn rant.
Oh man, you're preaching to the choir here. My wife does have her own business, and it is truly a passive income business. She is kind of the back end for real estate agents, if you will. So she takes a real estate deal from contract to close. She has a girl, lady, excuse me, Leslie. working. She'll never hear this, but she does all the work, and my wife owns a business, and it's truly a passive income business. And what you said about tax laws being created for entrepreneurs, we just bought a house last year. I had to do a foundation job on the house. I had to put an entirely new sewer system underneath the house, and I also had to relocate the electrical panel. I got to write some of that work off because my wife claims a room in our home as her home office. So I got to write off, I don't know, 18,000, I think it was, of those repairs off my income taxes.
Yeah, I write my whole studio off, all
Yeah,
the different things.
yes.
Hey, when me and my family go on vacation, it's a business retreat. My tax
Mm-hmm.
guy's like, "Does your wife help you?" I was like, "Yeah." "Does your son help you?" "Yeah." They all help me.
Absolutely.
I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking business the whole time we're down there. So that's what I mean. Like, we can go on vacation several times a year, but it's a business retreat. The company pays for it. That's why I'm saying I'm not gonna sit here and talk stupid on a lot of podcasts, but you guys know what I mean. There's benefits to it,
Mm-hmm.
to your advantage, whether you're a one-man band or some big corporation. That's all I want to say to you guys. But that's awesome. I mean, that had to be a scary transition for you to go from doing something like to this. Did you have that "oh shit, what did I just do" moment? You had to.
I mean, that's every day I wake up and I walk into this office. And I, I am I call this smartphone thing that we use all the time every day a light box. And I don't know what the light box does. I just know that I can call anybody, I can text anybody, I can use it for Google Maps and traffic and emails. I don't know what else it does, but I walk in here some days and we have a great sales team, and they're asking me questions, product questions. Hey, can we do this integration? Can we work on that? Can we import this? And I, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea. I'm not the person to ask. I don't know. Man, I say this because I wake up and I walk in here every day, and I kind of look around. Honestly, I walk in here every day and I kind of look around and I just, okay, my paycheck didn't bounce, so I'm just going to keep on working. I get, doing what I do, and it's a very very weird existence that I live now. Coming up, I had a moment that I made myself laugh in this very room at one of these offices. I was watching it rain, and I was looking through the window with my hands up like a zoo animal. I'm watching it rain, and there's guys downstairs at the building. They're filling in the stretch cracks in the concrete with that self-leveling sealant. And I'm looking there and I'm watching. I know exactly what they're doing, and I'm just watching them work.
That's funny. That's cool though, man. Well, I mean, good for you that you got that opportunity, man. It's good to see people get opportunities because the trades are great. But let's be honest, like I always tell people when you get into the trades, any trade, it's taxing on your body. So
Yes.
you have to think of your end game. Are you going to be a manager? Are you going to try to own your own business? You're going to go into tech support. You're going to go into sales, like something, because nobody wants to be that 50-year-old guy climbing in attics or going up ladders. You know what I mean? Like you just don't want to do
Yeah.
that. And I feel bad for the guys out there still doing it because they might be great at what they do. They just weren't, they didn't think about the future. And it sucks to see
Hmm.
those guys that have busted their ass still having to do that to make ends meet?
Yeah, and I would say that's not all of them. I have known quite a few guys that were getting older. I'd say, I don't know, 50, 60 something, and they have tried that management route, right? They've tried to get out of the truck. They're just not happy. They're just not happy. They're not fulfilled, right? And that's
Yeah.
that's a big part of being in the trades is we need that fulfillment of seeing something accomplished, right? Of being able to look at something tangible, right? I call it this caveman syndrome that we have of like, look, rocks, hammer. I did this. And we have something to show for it, right? And then and I've known a lot of guys that are older again, and they've went that route. They've tried that route. I knew one guy that had a business. He had 20 men working for him, successful. He had never been more miserable in his life. So he sold his business and went back to work as a tech for someone else. He has all the money sitting in the bank that he'll ever need, but he was not fulfilled sitting in an office running a team. He wanted to be out in the field. He wanted to be turning wrenches. Hey man, more power to you. If your body can hold up doing it, man, go for it.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
I have arthritis starting to set in my hands, my wrists. I already had my shoulder worked on a couple years ago. Exactly to your point, I started to see the future and started to look around of this is not gonna work for me.
Yeah, it happens. I've told this story numerous times. Like I went into management, like I was that best guy in the field, and
Hmm.
I thought the next step was management, and I was like, okay, that's the next step in my career. And when I first got into it, I'm like, this blows. I don't want to do this. Like, I want to go back. Like, I like fixing stuff. I like turning wrenches. And I would find ways to get back in the field. And then I slowly started learning things and making the transition of finding a new way to fill my cup, so to speak,
Yeah.
fulfillment. And mine is, you know, it's funny when I always want to be the boss. I'm like, yeah, I want to be the boss and blah, blah, blah. The only difference is I used to work for the boss. Now that I'm the boss, I work for the techs and the people. My job is to make
Yes.
sure they have everything that they need, whether it's training, resources, vans, material, whatever, so that they can do their job. So I like
Yes.
that part, the training. I still get to be on the technical aspect. I still get to go out in jobs. I ride with the techs because I want to find reasons to reasons to get out there, buy them lunch, build relationships. So it took me a while, but I finally found to like you know, being a general manager of a multi-million-dollar company. Like now, I love it. I love going to work every day. Obviously, I get to be at an awesome place too, but I love it because for the longest time, I was like, I don't know if I made the right decision.
Absolutely, and not to put words in your mouth, but if I can try and put words in your mouth, I think that transition that you had to learn and you had to make was leadership. What you described was a leader, somebody that works for everybody else. And I have been a part of those teams. Now, I did not own the business, but similar to yourself, I was that right-hand man where I had a team of guys working for me for the company, but I was the guy setting them up on schedules. I was the guy getting their trailer to the job on time. I was them getting materials, making sure they had the tools that they needed, the agenda. I was keeping the thing moving and I was keeping projects rolling, sometimes two and three projects at a time. And exactly to your point, where I found a different way to feel that fulfillment that guys like us really, I think it's like down on our bones, and and then I also just bought an old 70s house, and so now I have projects for the rest of my life, so I have plenty of stuff to get that fulfillment.
That's funny. And that's true. Like I can say like I've always been a natural born leader, but knowing how to lead properly, that's a whole new thing. Sometimes you
Yeah.
can lead people, but hey, you might think you're leading them in the right direction, but when you get where you're going, you're like, shit, we should have made a left back there, you know? So it
Yeah.
is. It's a lot of growth and it's a different kind of leading. It's when I started reading books, like when I was a technician HVAC, it was I put my nose in the books. I wanted to know everything, technical stuff, whatever there was out there. Um, and then when I got into management, I started reading books about culture, sales, what makes a good manager, what makes a good business owner. Because granted, I don't own the business. My buddy Ryan is the owner. I run the company for him. Um, or we run it together per se, and I don't run it for him. Well, I do, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you.
And he kind of pushed me into read because I've never been a reader like that. But it has totally changed my mind. Like I don't listen to the radio anymore. Like I'll listen
Oh
to a
yeah, me neither.
podcast, an audiobook, something that is going to make me better. And it was hard, but it is life changing. Like every moment that I have, I'm getting better at something. I'm learning a new skill. And I feel like when people say, like, I used to be that guy, like, I'm so busy, and I am, but you always have more free time than you think. You're just using bullshit time and getting nothing accomplished.
Oh, absolutely, man. I could not agree more with what you just said there. I used to listen to the radio, and music, is something that it's so funny to human nature. Like you can't. My son is one, and I put Aretha Franklin on or some kind of blue. He's already moving. He's already shaking. It's an innate trait of human beings. But what I have done over the last probably 5 years now is I have turned down the amount of music that I listen to, and I have severely turned up the amount of podcasts that I listen to. And to your point with reading books, one thing I think that the single trigger for
You
me that
mean
got
HVAC
me,
Uncensored? I'm sorry.
yeah, the single moment that I made that similar transition to you is when I learned first time ever learning about different personality types. It intrigued me so much that I started listening to podcasts about it, and I started listening to different types of podcasts or different types of personality tests, exams, all these kinds of things. There's the Enneagram, there's the DISC assessment, there's I know I'm missing some other ones,
Myers-Briggs.
but
All of our
yes,
employees
Myers
take the
Briggs,
Myers-Briggs. I'm like
yes,
an ESPJES. I forget. But yeah, we make
yeah,
everybody
I
do
know.
it. And it's amazing how true it is. Answering those
Yes.
questions, man, it's spot on.
Yes, and so exactly that. So learning about different personality types, to your point of like being, everyone thinks being the boss is like, being the big shit, and telling everybody what to do, and it's my way or the highway type stuff. But learning about how different people learn, and then learning how different people respond to different stimuli, or different things, right? And we're all different. Learning that just it melted my mind down, and then I started to learn more and more and more about, okay, well, taking the from that foundation of personality types, then I started reading management books, leadership books, and different ways that people have led successful teams. And it was, and then to follow up on your point of having more free time than you think, get you a set of earbuds, get a headphones, whatever. They don't have to be wireless. I used to have wired ones, and
I
I
got the
would,
Amazon ones and AirPods. So if one dies,
yes,
I got another one.
yes, I had two. I always had two because the battery, and I would always look for the one with the longest battery lifetime. And I would wear one pair out right after lunchtime, and then I would charge those in the van. I would put my other ones in, and I would finish the day listening to more podcasts, listening to more audiobooks is a big part of my life too. And it's so I'm cramming so much more into my brain than music did for me, and that I didn't get in school either, because I'm learning about the stuff that I want to learn in the way that works best for me, which is listening, not being talked to. There's a big difference.
Yeah, we read a book. Who is it? I forget the name of the book now. I'm gonna be so pissed. I'll remember after this. But it is about culture. It is what makes a good company culture. And when you read this book, it is it's amazing because people think management. Okay, you're in charge. You have to tell these people to do. Make sure they know what they have to do and be nice when you do it. But you got to stick your foot in their ass. You got to be tough. But you have to lead people like everybody's different. I used to say when I coach sports, you got to know which kid to kick in the ass and which kid to pat on the ass. It's the same thing
Hmm.
in management. You have to know, you know, which ones, if they're going to shut down if I yell at them or whatever. Some people need that stern voice. Also,
Yeah.
that you give a shit about them. It's like, hey, what can I do to help you? You know, when people work here and it's like, okay, well, if you come to work here, how can we help you achieve what you want in life? And people are like, what? I'm like, yeah, how can we help you achieve what, you want to achieve in life? And they're like, nobody ever asked me that. I'm like, well, you're applying
that
to the wrong
as
places.
Asking those questions, I've learned, is the basis for the Socratic method. And that's a way of teaching, of just asking questions. Excuse me. And exactly that, asking those questions. So you're taking a task, a job, a project, and you're almost making it objective. You're making it almost abstract of, okay, here's what needs to be done objectively, regardless of who does it, how it gets done, whatever. The job is its own thing. The job needs to get done. Now, how do we get this best accomplished? What do you do? What do I do? What does he do? What does that guy do? What do we all do together here to get the objective task completed on a cost efficient basis, a time efficient basis, and if we can have a good time doing it, that's a bonus, but some jobs just suck and you're not going to have a good time. So what do we got to do together to get this done? And you will have team members speak up. I loved this when it happened, when I had my crew, and I had people who had their own strengths, and they knew their own strengths, and they would speak up and say they would take responsibility for it. Say, well, I'm going to take over this first 2 hours, and I'm going to get. That's what Will would say. I'm gonna get started, and then Sean, I need you to, at this point, I'm going to need you to take up the slack and do this, so I Will can go to another part and start doing this, and then Sean, you'll be right behind me, and then my two finish out guys, they would be behind them, kind of tightening up all the loose ends. So they would work out their own. I didn't tell them what to do. They'd work out their own job. All right, guys, y'all got it. See you later. Give me a call if you need anything. Bye.
Yeah. Sorry, that I knew it was gonna bother me. My OCD was gonna bother me. That book is called Boundaries for Leaders by Henry Cloud.
Okay.
It's an
All
awesome,
right.
awesome book.
Okay.
That was the fact that I didn't remember was gonna piss me off, so I had
Oh
to like
yeah,
look for
absolutely.
it. But yeah, no, that's true. And I'm one of those people, anything I've ever done in my life, I've always wanted to be the best. Does it mean I am? No, but I strive to do that. I want to be different. I want to do it to the best of my ability. And and that's one thing I like about the management side is so rewarding, like being able to put time and effort into the guys and girls that work for me, and the fact that they know I care about them. They know it's real. It's genuine. I'm just kind of that genuine dude. Sometimes it goes bad. Sometimes people think I'm an asshole. Hey, that's true, but I'm that same asshole all the time. I don't change. But it's just rewarding when I see them. We're talking in a meeting. And I'm like, hey, what's everybody got going? Any big plans, personal plans? What you doing? Like, hey, did you get that house yet? You close? And then we're like, hey, man, like we're buying that house. It's like, fuck yeah, man. Like, let's celebrate that shit
Mm-hmm.
together. Like it's just it's an awesome feeling. And I feel like more and more companies out there are getting that good culture of, treating techs good, treating their people good, paying them well, training and stuff like that. Because them old, like, oh, if you don't my way or the highway, if you don't like it, we'll just get somebody new. Well, the technicians hold all the power nowadays, okay?
Not. Yeah, I was gonna say not anymore.
Yeah, if they're not treating you good, then somebody else will. Don't sit around and suffer, because you don't have to. That's for sure. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess, well, let me ask you this. We'll try to get on. Damn, time flies by so fast when you podcast. Um,
Yep.
so I guess let's get on. So since you've been at FieldPulse, like, I mean, how have you seen? So, what are some of the things that so when you were using FieldPulse, let me use it this way. What are some of the things that you loved about it that they incorporate for somebody using it on the user side?
So what drew me over to them was the simplicity of it. Now, I had started with one of our now competitors, House Call Pro. Very easy to use, but anytime I needed help with something, I couldn't get it, or I had to chat in, but they didn't always have a phone number available, and this and that and whatever. And just I still remember to this day thinking, guys like me don't really know what we're doing with this thing. Like, we're afraid to push buttons because there's not always a back button. And we don't. And sometimes you look at a word on a button you're about to press, and I remember having this thought, this seems really final. This seems if I push this button, there is no way to go back. Just because of the word written on the button. And so I found Field Pulse just by looking around, by shopping around, doing some demos, and seeing the simplicity of it, the simplistic nature of it, which was good. But then there was some additional stuff that I didn't even know that I needed because somebody at House Call Pro never even told me about them. But the full demo that I got at FieldPulse, I still remember. I don't remember who did it, but I do remember the demo of sending out emails attached to certain items. Like I could send out an estimate in an email, which is, I mean, everybody does that. That's simple. But then I could follow up. I could send a follow up, a reminder email. Oh yeah, because some people don't check their email. Yeah, that makes sense. And then invoices. I send an invoice. Well, people don't get those emails, and but and quite truthfully though, I had some very wealthy clients who would be in the Bahamas or they would be in another continent, and not really looking at their email type thing. And so again, I could send up a follow up email and a simple reminder email, and then I could also send a receipt email thanking them. And it was the whole receipt was, hey, here's what you just paid for. Thank you for your business. I really appreciate it. My family appreciates this. I would really appreciate you telling anybody and everybody that you know about my business, about what I do. And here's a link to my Google My Business page. You can leave a review. Every single time people respond to those emails, wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, or what? For the work? Because you paid me for the work like that. I say please and you say thank you, and that's the exchange. But then after the receipt email, I would still get a response of thank you. And so that, to get back to your question though, of what FieldPulse did was make it more personable to the client. And that I of course is on me, right? Because I have to show up, I have to do the work, I have to be clean cut. I can't smell, like a plumber.
Better
uh,
be careful. I got some here.
but it is on me to provide the service, but that the field pulse was just the cherry on top that put me above. I had people waiting at one point in time. I had people waiting 6 weeks for me to come by,
That's awesome.
and part of it is, like I said, part of it's me doing the work, but part of it is also the fact that they know the amount of communication that I give them.
And that makes sense. A lot of people nowadays, man, when I talk to different customers, like, yeah, we're happy of our 5-star, you know, Google rating and our different locations and stuff like that. It means the world to us. But when I do quality control and I'll call back random customers and talk to them, or I'll go out to random customers and talk to them. And most of them are like, they're like, I just want people who actually give a shit. They're like, sometimes it has nothing to do with the cost of what it is. I just want a person to shoot me straight and be like, hey, you need this. This is why. This is how much it costs. I'm sorry you have to do this. It's kind of an expensive job, but I can take care of it for you. No problem,
Hmm.
Bill. Here's my money. Get it done. It's that simple.
Yeah, and I learned something. Okay, I learned it, and I knew that I knew it, but I didn't know the phraseology behind it. And I finally found it one day in a podcast, of course, is that people do business with people. People don't do businesses. People don't do business with businesses. They do business with people. And so, again, like you said, if I can make someone feel, and I'm not a salesman. If you don't want to do business with me, I don't care. I told people all the time who are price shopping, well, can you offer any discounts or this and that? No, I don't. In fact, if you're gonna start talking about trying to get me cheaper, I need to hang up the phone because while we're talking, I missed 3 other phone calls. So this conversation is over. Bye. But um, but yeah, to bring it back to FieldPulse though, when I had again I had issues or I had questions, the fact that we have a customer support team, the fact that we have people who care, we have an entire team, an entire department who has their own budget and their own perks and benefits along with their job to call and take calls and answer people's questions. It's the exact same relationship that you have with your clients that we at FieldPulse have with our clients. We take into consideration problems that our clients have, and we think about it and we consider it, and we have to think at scale, which is why we can't make everybody happy, because some people want something that's so specific that we can't do just that. That's something I'm slowly learning, but guys, it's not that hard. If somebody wants a different schedule view, we're taking the same information, the same ones and zeros and all the length, but we're just making it look different. Somebody kept calling in and we kept getting multiple calls for it, for a color view. They wanted to organize their text by color. They wanted to assign a color to everybody. Okay, yeah, sure. I think we rolled that out in like a week. Okay, cool. We get calls all the time. Our customer service team, oh my goodness, man, to look at their calendars, you think you're busy. Oh my goodness.
I bet.
Oh my goodness.
I bet. And one thing I say, and I'm honest, with my listeners and viewers, that Field Pulse is a sponsor, and I don't currently use it, but I went through a lot of demos and a demo account that I can mess around in, and there's a lot of things that I really like, and I agree with you about the ease of use, and I love just the seeing everybody's schedule and that I can literally just drag it and go over here, because we currently use House Call
Hmm.
Pro right now, and we are talking about switching. We kind of outgrown them. We're at the we're going to be a $6-7 million company, and we're past House Call Pro. We've outgrown them, and
We actually get that call a lot. That's funny.
yeah, and it's and I really do. And I like a lot of the features you guys have. Like in House Call Pro, if you want to, move a time schedule or change it to a different person, you got to click on it and beep beep boop, do this, click that person, click this, and then when I was messing in there, it was like bink, there it is. So I do agree with the ease of use, Can't talk tonight. Jesus Christ. But that has a lot to do with it. It's the people, and then also it's the you know, when you onboarding, when you first do something, like I won't say a bunch of them. I don't want to piss people off because I know people at every single one of these places, but there's a couple of them that the whole onboarding process and setting up, it sucks. The learning curve is ridiculous. Like, I'm not trying to fucking learn Chinese or calculus. Like, I just want to be able to run my business and get the numbers that I need. Like, but I want the numbers that I need. And then when I get them, it's great if you give me a whole bunch, but I don't need these. So now all you're doing is just adding shit that I don't need that's throwing me off. It just sometimes it's too much, and
So
people,
I believe the company that you're talking about is Service Titan, and I my
oh, maybe.
I'll call them out. My talking point and I don't call it my sales talk. I don't do sales, but I have talked to a couple of other partners and a couple of other people customers who use Service Titan, and I've seen in the dashboard, right? I've seen inside their accounts, and they are literally going past all of this information to get to something useful, and the light bulb went off in my head one day, is like, you really need all that stuff? I mean, if you're a reasonably sized shop right now, if you are a top tier 100 man 150 man shop, we're not always the right fit for you, and we will admit that. Like our sweet spot is 2 to 25. That's our sweet spot. That's really who we're going after. But we are slowly building functionality into margin versus markup estimating and cost basis and cost profit analysis. And we're slowly building those things to accommodate bigger businesses, but we're doing it in the right way, and we're not at the risk of being too much. We're adding things slowly, and we're doing this incrementally, because to, like you said, to just dump truck and onboarding that takes, and Service Titan will tell you, and on their website they tell you it takes on average 3 months to integrate into our 3 months. 3 months. Huh.
It's longer
What
than that.
what are you gonna miss in your financial reporting in 3 months that you need to forecast when you're running 100 men? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, we give you this number that your guy backs into his parking spot 6 times per week. It's like, I don't need that. Like, yes, you have to look at KPIs, key performance indicators, certain things
Yes.
that you should be looking at. But like, same thing I say to HVAC technicians, it's great if you know what the superheat and subcooling is by using digital gauges. But if you don't know what it's supposed to be, then what the fuck's the point of knowing in the first place? Same with your numbers. It's great. It's like, oh, this is our average ticket, or this is, our average book lead per phone call, or whatever it is. But if you don't know what it's supposed to be, it doesn't matter. That's only a small piece. You have to get the data and know what it supports. Okay, this is where it should be. We need to get it here. This is what we have to do. You know what I mean? Like, there's more to it.
Yes, absolutely. And one thing that we found recently that I'm pretty excited about, we found the need, and somebody brought this up to us. We found the need to parcel out POs, because guys are always going to the supply house and they're buying things that shoe covers, paper towels, flux, solder, things that you don't necessarily attribute to that job, but you need at the time that you go to that supply house. So now we're working on a generic PO program, if you will, that will separate out the PO from what is actually being job costed to that particular job, and then just a generic PO for generic, use stuff, like gas and, like I said, paper towels, shoe covers, all the miscellaneous stuff that you don't necessarily want to tie into a job cost, because it throws your metrics off.
Yeah, it does. And that's something like that's a good point, because that's something so small, but
Yes,
it adds up, you know,
yes, it does,
over the
absolutely.
year, all the working days. I mean, that's huge, um, and yeah, we use truck stock POs and guys do that, but does that mean they slip sometimes? You know what I mean? Oh, I'm going to Mrs. Smith's. Oh, just, yeah, put it all in that PO. Um, My biggest thing is I try to keep guys out of supply houses. So I have
Hmm.
an automated thing that we use that's not through any of the CRMs or anything like that, or FSMs, whatever the hell you guys call it yourselves nowadays.
I don't even know anymore.
They're all good.
I just work here.
Yeah. um, but yeah, I try to keep them out of supply house for that reason, because normally they're, in the truck inspections, because guys would have, 6 things of PVC glue. And it's like, because it's not their money. I get it. They're going to a job. Oh, let me
Hmm.
grab one. I'm not sure if I have it. It's like, okay, well, you don't need 6 cans of fucking PVC glue. Like, that costs money. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like, little things like that really, make a huge difference. But back onto FieldPulse. For one, I know the award you guys won. I'm sorry, I should know this and I don't, but what is the award that you guys just won?
Oh my gosh. We won number one, and I don't know how, and I'm honest, I don't know how many categories. I think it's 4 or 5 different categories that we won. Ease of use, most innovative, best I don't even know, honestly.
No,
I see the
I felt
banners.
I felt
I
bad too. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. My bad, dude.
There's And so for me personally, I just said this the other day to our CEO and there's someone else who was, I can't remember who was sitting there, but I said I'm honestly surprised at how much attention this has garnered us, because I thought of G2 as me, just a normal guy. I thought of G2 as like, I don't know, like, this is going to sound weird, but like other software stuff, like Adobe, software and like creative soft. I don't know. I just didn't think about it for us, but then the announcements came out, the awards came out, and now, I mean, it's in all of we standardize our email signatures, and we've put out some branding and, some advertising and stuff.
Oh,
And
that,
the amount of people who tag that now as where they saw us, it took me by surprise personally.
yeah, it's funny you said that because I'm looking at Mr. Michael Hoffman's email from FieldPulse.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was best ease of use. I can't read that. So many stars. Happiest users and software advice most recommended. Man, I got bad eyes. That's a John. I got 180 degrees here too, and I can't see that. That's I need glasses. But yeah, that's awesome, man, and good for you guys. So, how long has Field Pulse been around? Like, how long have they been an option?
So Gabe Pinchev started it in 2015, and man, we just to look at the history of the business, it seemed like Gabe and the developers, right, were they were building and they were, gaining some traction, and it takes a long time to get, because there's so much development in the back end for something like this, to bring something like this to market. And so to look at the history of the business, it was slow and steady, and it was steady, but it was slow. And then it seemed like something happened about mid, like 2 years ago. Gabe can speak to more what it was, but my own interpretation of looking at the history of the business, something clicked, something changed, something happened, and now we have some months where every business has financial projections, has, forecasting, and it's a different scale where our projection is and where our actual is. We have to zoom the scale out because the numbers are so different.
Yeah,
It's
that,
pretty cool to be a part of.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Is there anything? So, I guess we're like close to an hour, and I don't want to keep you too
Yeah.
long. Um, so I'm trying to think. So let's just say so. I don't want to say a random person, or let's just say, okay, say you don't know me. I walk up on the street. You tell me you work for Field Pulse, and you're like, hey, and I tell you, hey, man, I'm looking to use one of these CRMs, FSMs. I'm not sure which one to use. Why should I go with what is your pitch to people? Like, hey, if you're looking, this is why you should look here, if that makes sense.
It does. I just had this conversation on Friday, and we are trying to figure it out. We're trying to back engineer it. And here's my elevator pitch, if you will. Um, our customer service team, not to make the equivalency, but it's like insurance. You need it. You don't really know that you need it until you need it. And then if anybody has ever had, and I have personally had a positive experience with insurance, it changes your perception about insurance. So now to tie that into customer service, you you don't think, right? You're on a sales call with anybody, and this is ubiquitous to all. They're gonna, say everything's great, and this is the end. You're gonna be so happy here, and blah blah blah. They're gonna sell you, right? That's their job, is to sell you, but they're not going to always explain, and you're not always going to think about, yeah, but what if I don't know what something does, or what if my intuition can't figure this out? Well, good luck calling any other customer service team in our industry with our competitors. We are the only ones who actually put significant resources into our customer service team, that actually put significant resources, one word, but like we really rely, even internally, we rely on our own customer service team. They know the product inside and out. I have never seen them get stumped, ever. They have never come, nobody has ever come across a situation or, something that, that it's a bug or, or something. Our customer service is second to none. And to bring it back to where I started, we need to figure out a way to push that because, like I said, it's one of those, I don't even say necessary evil. That's not the right way to put it, but it's one of those things that you need that you don't know that you need until you're looking around and and it's froze. Is it my phone? Is it the software? Is it my internet connection? Well, we can look at that. We can get into the back end of our own software and say, yes, actually, it is a bug. We did have a slight outage. We should be back in 20 minutes. Or there are certain people in our company who can even say, no, you dropped a cell signal in your loading. That's why it didn't work. They can look into that, and it's a little creepy, but they can.
That's that's awesome, and it's a good pitch. It just means that you guys, you give a shit. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, we got them as a customer. Oh, now they're so invested they won't leave. We got them. Because I feel like a lot of companies, and not just CRMs, FSMs, whatever we're talking about, companies in general, they do so much in the marketing to get somebody that, like we just talked about, some of these, it's changing one of these is not simple. It's the way you run your
No.
business. It's a big step. So people get scared, and when they do it, they're not going to do it like again, you know? So if God forbid they don't like it or don't get the service they want, they're like, well, we're going to have to deal with it. Cause for one, maybe we can't afford to, we locked into a contract or whatever it is. So one that cares, and it's like, hey, yes, welcome aboard, welcome to the family, whatever the motto is. And then it's, hey, how can we help you? We're gonna help you. This is how you put the people in. This is how you do this. Like, that's huge. Just
And
like,
I've just to not to cut you off, but I've had multiple conversations with our customer service team, who also does onboarding and training and all that kind of stuff. I'm a huge advocate for, if you personally, your business, if you're running a different FSM, keep using it while you get FieldPulse set up. That's the way I came onto it myself. Was I initially only used it for estimates because of that email sign and accept feature and the invoices that I could get paid through email. That's all I did for like a month or two. I kept my House Call Pro account because I was familiar with it, because I didn't want to take the chance. And so we have lots of people, business owners, who get signed on only as themselves, and they only have one user. They get to know, they get all their customers imported, right? They sync up their QuickBooks, they get it all working. They give it to one tech, and they let him use it. Their lead tech, and they give it to him. They get him rolling on it, and then everyone else literally just falls in line. And so, don't just change from shut down one on Friday and come up with another one on Monday. Take your time, take it easy. Let's learn this, because it's a different, it's almost the difference between Apple and Google, right? Where the menus are different, the intuition of what buttons to push, right, and what things does certain things. I had an iPhone for about 4 months. I hated it because my brain doesn't work like iPhones are set up, and so I've been Android all my whole life, and so that's kind of what this comes down to, is the intuition, the ease of use, those awards that we won. It's because we think through the use case, we think through the use process in the most intuitive way that we can possibly design.
no, that makes perfect sense. Um, And just to hear this, I'll read a few of these real fast. So I won't say these people's name, but it says, I've been using FieldPulse software for over a year, and I am very happy with it. The product itself is user friendly and has a great design. What I really like about the company, besides their product, is their customer service. When I ask for help, I receive a quick reply and solution to my issue. The added bonus is that I always connect with the same customer service reps, so they already know me and my business. Um,
Yep.
Let's see here. Customer service is king, and FieldPulse has what it takes to set the standard. They are super fast, easily accessible, and want to help. Not to mention, they offer a litany. Look at this Pierce using big words. Litany of
Hmm.
useful features that has really helped me and my business. Thank you, FieldPulse, for being you. And this is reviews, guys, that I'm literally reading from them. So this isn't me making stuff up. And here, let's just go. I'm going to scroll past and I'm going to read another random one. Let's see. Scroll. Um, just got on board with FieldPulse and they have been the best. The support team is great and the value of the system is better than any other field service management I've used. So he just sat here and talked about customer service being a key. He didn't sit here and go over all the different features they offer, which is a tremendous amount. I can tell you that. You can look it up online. Um, he's talking about their customer service and how they care. They're there to help. I just read 3 random reviews on their website from a shit ton, and every single one of them says something about their customer service. And just so you know, there's someone here that use other things, but most of them are saying something about customer service. It's the best they've ever dealt with. So touche. Hats off to Field Piece. That's pretty awesome, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great. Honestly, and I'm not brown nosing, but it's a great team to be a part of. I've never been a part of number one this industry, right? I came from construction, and then to come into something like this, I don't know what I'm walking into on day one, but then the camaraderie that everybody has in the office and online, because we do have some remote people. We don't have any assholes that work for us. We Everybody is a genuinely nice person. Everybody is genuinely trying to help everybody else, and our culture speaks through the phone, through our sales team, through our customer service team, literally all the way from the top, from Gabe, who's our CEO, who a lot of these ideas and a lot of these little tweaks and little things, man, he'll message us, no bullshit, 1 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I'm thinking about this. I thought about this. He'll send a screenshot with notes and little arrows and points. What if we move this around here? I'm thinking about changing this word. What do you think? It's too close to this word that's over here. And all of us are like, I'm in bed. What are you doing? We're
Go
we're
to
gonna be
sleep,
there.
man.
I'm gonna be at work in 7 hours. What are you doing? And he's here at 9 o'clock every single day. And hey, did you get my message? Hey, what about? And just, hey, whoa, slow down. I've got 4 phone calls. Can we talk about this later? I'm a little busy right now.
That's funny. It's funny you say that because Ryan, the actual owner of Beltway that I work for, we all joke about his late night emails that it'll be like 12:30, 1 o'clock, and hey man, I was thinking about calling our service contracts this now. You know, or what if we got, we did this and then we changed that, and I'm like, what? And then he'll do the same thing next. Did you see my email? Yeah, motherfucker, I saw it at 1:30 when I got up to piss. Like, yeah, sorry I didn't reply back. So
Oh,
that's
and we have an office in Australia. So, and Gabe is doing this for essentially another business on another continent. It's still Field Pulse, but it's on another continent. So try and comprehend that. Your owner running Beltway in Australia in a completely different side of the earth, and he's doing it for both simultaneously.
good day, mate. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, no, that's crazy. Well, I can say, man, it's everybody that I've met. I know the relationship with me with Field Pulse is at its beginning stages, but everybody that I've met so far has been awesome. Between Michael, there was another young lady that I met. You and the other gentleman who was with you. So I've gotten to meet a couple of different people, and everybody's been awesome and cool and genuine. So I love doing that. I love meeting different people that even I don't have to interact with every day or isn't like my representative or whoever, because that's how you can really get to see the inner workings of a company, how people are when nobody's watching, like that kind of stuff. And it speaks
Oh man,
volumes.
if you hung out here when nobody else is here, when it's just us, I'll give you a little tip or a little insight. We have an inflatable um, room, if you can call it that. It looks like a phone booth, and whenever somebody hits their outlandish sales goals, it has a fan that blows around, and we throw dollar bills in it. So they're grabbing cash in this. That's the kind of place that we have here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, tell your CEO, man, hey, I know we were new in the relationship, but he wants to fly me out. Let me come hang out with you guys. I'll definitely do it. I mean, I can make
Yeah,
time. No.
he might.
um, but Daniel, we're over an hour, man. So I want to
No,
thank you
man,
so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the partnership with FieldPulse and learning more about you guys and what you're doing. It seems like you guys have a really good thing, and that's pretty awesome, man.
it's pretty cool. Thanks you so much for having me on, man. It's way past my bedtime. I'm gonna go home and call it a night, my friend.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go ahead and close this show out, buddy. So have a good night, and I'll talk at you soon, my man.
All right, you too. Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. All right, everybody, man. So if any of you out there, if you are a decision maker and you are looking to, you know, change your CRM or whatever field service management tool that you're using, go ahead and definitely check out FieldPulse. I will add this back into the thing so that you guys can click that link if you want to. But yeah, man, it was a good show, man. And it's cool talking to somebody like Daniel who's been in the trades and he's been on the other side. He's been in the trenches, and now works for something like that and tries to help other business owners, other people, help use those different things in their business. So it's cool to see that. Um, Closing this thing out, man. Thank you to everybody in the chat. I appreciate all of you. Obviously, you guys know when I'm doing this whole, talking back and forth, it's hard to be able to see all the different comments, but I appreciate you guys, chiming in and having your conversations. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Just so everybody knows, if anybody saw my post on Instagram, I got some of the new stickers. So I have these normal ones are just in white. The new holographic ones came, and then I have the die cut ones. So if there's not that many of these, but I have like 1,000 of the other one. So if you want stickers, email me, HVAC Uncensored at gmail.com. I'm going to start mailing these out here in the next couple of days. If you want any of them, I will send them to you. Guys, I have another show tomorrow night. So make sure that you are here, and I will be here also Thursday night as well. 3 shows total this week. And guys, I want to thank all of you who supported me through this whole thing. I said it on Instagram. Some of you guys are not on Instagram, but yesterday, the podcast broke 3 million downloads, man. And I was at a loss for words yesterday. Like my anxiety was getting me, like it was giddy, but, I just can't believe it, man. In 5 years that many people have downloaded and listened to this dumbass talk. So all you guys that have supported me since day one and you keep supporting me, I'm forever grateful. I appreciate each and every one of you so much that I cannot put into words how grateful I am. Thank you so very much. And I promise you, this is only the fucking beginning. We're going to keep going, keep rocking, and we're going to make shows like this the norm when it comes to the trades. I'm going to make this shit, competing with Joe Rogan when it comes to the trades. And keep getting what we do out, get the word out on what we do, and change the game as far as how people think of plumbers, HVAC guys, electricians, whatever it may be. All right. And I'm not going to stop until that shit's done. But yeah, guys, remember, stay safe out there. We all have somebody to make it home to. All right. Keep your head on the swivel. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy. We always talk about this. There's so many ways to make yourself better nowadays. Podcasts, audiobooks, read a book, watching something, online classes, whatever it is. Make sure you're doing something to make yourself better. Keep pushing those limits, pushing yourself to get what you want. All right? Don't settle for anything less than what you deserve and what you want in life, man. And you guys know if I can help any of you in any way, all you have to do is reach out and I will help you. I don't know everything, far from it. If I don't know the answer, then fuck it. We'll learn it together. I'm down. All right. And because of the podcast, if I have any resource that can help you, I've been able to meet a lot of amazing people in the 5 years doing this show that I can call and lean on to ask questions. And if that's the case, then hey, we'll do that. We'll figure out the answer together. So yeah, real fast. I gotta say this real fast before I close, and I haven't even called the guy back real fast. So you guys, my good friend, Mr. Craig Migliaccio, AC Service Tech. I want to give him a shout out real fast. For one, he's awesome YouTube channel, but he's an awesome just human. He left me a message the other day. It was kind of personal and said that he was thinking about me. It was Friday, the day of my mom had surgery, a biopsy for her lung cancer. And he left me a message that was just, it was so awesome. I didn't even see it until a day later because my mind was all fucked up that day. But the fact that he took the time to call me and what he said, Craig, if you see this, I appreciate you so much, brother. I appreciate your friendship and I appreciate you making that call. And the fact that I didn't answer and you left a message to make sure that I got the message you were trying to give me, bro. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate that. And I'll call you back soon too. But anyway, yeah, that's it, man. I'm not gonna say to just blow hot air out. Be back here tomorrow night. Also Thursday. Make sure you follow me on all the social media platforms. YouTube, Facebook. Facebook will be the group HVAC Uncensored Nation. Also HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Instagram, TikTok. That's really the only ones that I'm using. Make sure you download the audio podcast. Try to give me a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. That way we can keep getting this out to more people. The more you guys help me, 5 stars, follow, share it. The bigger we're going to get this, the more I can do to give back to you guys. All right. With that being said, I'm going to shut my mouth. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And I'll talk with you tomorrow night. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.